Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hello, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a hypnosis session that was created for a client that was a talented musical artist. However, when she was a child, was told by parents that she shouldn't be too proud and not to perform at her highest level when it came to her music, because that could make other children feel bad that they don't have the same talent. And quite often, parents give well-intentioned advice, sometimes that is considerate of people around, without realizing the potential consequences of that advice or that feedback. And in this particular client's case, there was this feeling that she had to hold back, that she couldn't really be the performer that she wanted to be without somehow being unconsiderate of other people. So what you'll hear in this hypnosis session is regression to the point where that belief was created, but also a replacement advice that, given what she now knows, what she would have preferred to have heard at two key points in her childhood. The point that she was told to be small and to keep her ego in check, and that was replaced with what she would have wanted to have heard at that particular point, and a particular inspirational voice that she looked up to as a child, telling her to be unapologetic about her talents and to embrace them, to treat them as a gift. You'll also notice various metaphors and things connected to this whole idea of embracing talent. And there's also a metaphor that includes the story of Icarus, because fundamentally, sometimes what can be perceived as self-sabotage is actually the unconscious trying to protect. So this is finding the ideal balance, the way in which she could still move forward and utilize her talents without risking losing everything and self-destruction. Obviously, it was created for a very specific person. But if you do feel that you're self-sabotaging yourself or you're not making the most of your talents, there will be a link in the show notes that you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation call with me. But you might find that this is actually useful enough as it is. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, allow feelings of any stress, tension, or worries to leave your body in your outward breath. Noticing that as you breathe in and breathe out, your eyelids are feeling heavier and heavier. Any tension around your eyes, forehead, and jaw starts to loosen. Becoming aware of the feeling of any tightness in your neck and your shoulders. And simply deciding that here, right now, tension isn't necessary. And therefore, as you breathe in and breathe out, you get a desire to let go of that tension and to really feel that tension leave your body in your outward breath, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed as you elongate the outward breath until there's nothing left in your lungs. And then when you breathe in again, breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation, giving you the feeling of calmness and tranquility. As your physical body relaxes, you can start to be playful with your imagination. What is your imagination if it isn't a portal from your conscious to your unconscious mind? When you have a good idea, it comes from your unconscious into your conscious. It passes through the portal. And when you're studying something or learning something new, it requires conscious thought. But in the future, you can do that same thing without any thought whatsoever, because it's passed from the conscious into the unconscious through the same portal. And I want you to create a visual representation of a portal, as very soon we go through the portal back to a moment in your childhood, a moment that you'll be able to observe yourself as a child playing, having fun, learning. I'll count down from 5 to 1 and you will imagine passing through the portal. 5, feeling more relaxed. 4, having a desire to make a change. 3, perhaps imagine that you're floating through the portal. 2, passing through the portal. And 1, you're now through into your subconscious mind, back to a moment where you can observe yourself as a child playing. And as you notice seeing yourself, I want you to connect with the idea of how much you knew back then. When you're a small child, one significant new belief represents a sizable percentage as to how you see the world from that point onwards. And I want you to observe all these positive beliefs that perhaps you learnt seeing yourself in this location. Maybe you learned that it's good to play. Maybe you formed a belief that expressing through creativity gives you joy. Maybe you learned the belief that things don't have to be structured and regimented in order for you to learn. And as you observe yourself back then, I want you to celebrate the talents you had at that particular point. That through a combination of genetics and environment, you have all the building blocks for something special, even if you didn't know it at the time. And And I want you to observe yourself in a moment of enjoyment and play. And you can tell from your facial expression that this is that moment. And then imagine that you're now in the body of that playful child, feeling how good it feels to just enjoy playing, to enjoy learning. I want you to connect with that feeling back then, that there wasn't limitations on what you should do or what you could do. You were encouraged to explore your capabilities and your talents. Connect with that feeling and then shift to that third person perspective where you're observing yourself at a child at a similar age, but this time at a time perhaps where you were given well-intentioned but not useful advice. And maybe there was a time that you were told that you couldn't shine so bright. You couldn't be as big as you wanted to. You couldn't celebrate your talents in case it made others feel bad. And I want you to observe the facial expression of that childlike version of you when you were told something like that. You accepted this advice, this wisdom as truth. Maybe it instilled a considerate part of you, a part of you that really thought of the impact of you on others. But it wasn't the full picture. I want you to imagine rewinding it, and that instead you were given advice that you would have liked to have had at that point in time, knowing everything that you know now. And maybe that advice is to celebrate your talents, to be unapologetic, to shine as bright as you can. And I want you to see that whatever that advice that you would prefer to have received back then, imagine that child hears that instead of what you were told. And notice that it creates a feeling that you can really own your capabilities. You can really test your talents, and you can grow as a person. And I want you to follow what happened in the months and years that followed with the advice that you would have liked to have received back then. And maybe there were occasions where other people just weren't as good as you in that specific area. But every human has different talents. Your talents don't have to be someone else's, and someone else's don't have to be yours. I want you to tap into the feeling that your ability to shine bright doesn't diminish the light of anyone else. Perhaps it inspires people to find their talent to nurture. Maybe it inspires people to work harder to chase their dream. I want you to go forward in time to a time where perhaps there was a well-intentioned desire to make sure you weren't getting too big for your boots, that your head wasn't growing too big, that your ego wasn't becoming too large. And again, observe the reaction of this child as they made a conscious decision to be small. To doubt themselves. And then rewind that. And instead, see that child hearing the advice that you would have wanted to, perhaps from someone that inspired you at that age, someone unapologetic. Imagine that entity gives you different advice. And maybe that advice is to be proud of who you are, to be grateful for your talents, that the purpose of your talent is to share it with the world. And notice the facial expression on that child, where that's the advice they choose to take. And when you can see a child that has now received the advice to be grateful for their talents, to nurture their talents, and perhaps to be unapologetic, let me know by nodding your head. And then now step into that child's body where you feel it's okay to shine as bright as you can. You can have your chin up, your shoulders back, your head held high, feeling unapologetic. That if this is your talent, this talent was there for a reason. And you have a responsibility to nurture that talent and to share that talent with the world. And feel how good it feels to connect with a feeling of being generous by sharing your talent, being courageous for being unapologetic, yet still being respectful for the emotions of other people. Notice in this version of you, there isn't a desire to boast, to brag, to show off, but to perform, to do what you can to the best of your ability, to be grateful when you receive nice words, to maybe inspire a few people, but also to give yourself the opportunity that the world gives you a feedback loop so you can learn from setbacks, build that emotional resilience, and yet it doesn't hold you back, it propels you forward. I want you to tap into that incredible feeling that what you have is a gift. And I want you to think of how you would feel if you gave a small child a gift, maybe a beautiful dress, or perhaps a small bicycle. And I want you to feel that if you gave them a dress and they never wore it, just in case other children were disappointed that they didn't have a dress, that you, as the person that gave the gift, would be sad about that. That if you gave a small child a beautiful new bicycle, but they never rode it down their street, just in case it made the children who didn't have a bike feel bad, you as the giver of that gift would feel bad about that. I want you to tap into the idea that you've been given a gift, and therefore one of the most positive and respectful things to do with that gift is to use that gift. The more you use it, the more generous and respectful you are. And if your subconscious mind agrees, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to get lost in your imagination as you imagine what it may have been like for Icarus. Feathers on your arms, wax holding the feathers, flying over the Mediterranean Sea on a beautiful sunny day. You can't go too low because the waves would wash away the feathers and you would drown in the sea. But you can't go too high because the sun would melt the wax and again you would fall into the sea beneath you. I want your unconscious mind to tap into the idea of what flying too high would represent in your world, in your career. What would have to happen for you to take this gift and then make it all self-destruct? And once you know the kind of things that would lead it to flying too high, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to create a custodian inside your own mind, or to assign this responsibility to a part that already exists, to keep you from self-destructing, to keep you from flying too high, to keep you connected with that part of you that is still there, that is respectful to the emotions of other people, but being completely unapologetic with your talents and your gifts. And if your unconscious mind feels that you can find the right balance between celebrating your talents but avoiding the ability of self-destructing, let me know by nodding your head. And from this point forward, your intuition will be your alarm bells, so that you can fly at the ideal height, so that your wings don't melt and yet you don't fly into the sea. And I want you to fly forwards now, touching down in a future where you've achieved the level of success that you want. And perhaps this is a year, 2 years, maybe less, maybe more. And I want you to observe that future version of you that has the success that you desire. And I want you to feel that you are there. The version of you that hasn't acquired that success yet. See what success looks like for you. And see yourself surrounded by other people that are also what you define as success in their industry. And I want you to mingle around them, but this time something's different. You have this intuitive feeling that you'll be in that same group soon. And as you see these faces, perhaps one face in particular, I want you to feel an intuitive connection between you and them. That you share talent, you share passions, you share a work ethic, you share a self-belief. And feel that connection between you and them. Maybe even see it, similar to a neural pathway where electrical impulses connect one neuron to another neuron, creating a chain reaction, a neural pathway, all the way from you, perhaps in the center of your chest, your solar plexus, all the way to theirs, invisible to the naked eye, and yet you can feel that connection between you and them. But also make that same connection to the future version of you that has already achieved this level of success. And it feels good. You've now connected to a part of your past that needed a new perspective. And you've now connected to your future. This is now no different from the destination in a GPS sat-nav. Your unconscious mind is programmed to take you to this future without flying too high or flying too low, but being unapologetic with your talents and your desire to share those talents with the world. It's time to leave this place. As you find yourself back in the present, as you realize all of this is just thoughts within thoughts, ideas within ideas, dreams within dreams. All parts of you back now in the present, but with a new perspective on your talents and your ability to share them, with a new unapologetic attitude to your future. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect with being fully present in the moment right now as I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling motivated, inspired, and completely unapologetic, starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.